Hi everyone, it's Caroline. I wanted to talk about the notion of milestones in this body empowerment episode. This is episode 51, and 50, 100, counting in those increments, and 25, 10s, 5s, whatever, tends to be a big milestone number in our society, in our lives. And so I wanted to just take a moment to pause and reflect and use that as a metaphor and exercise in the notion of reflection and acknowledging milestones in general. So this weekend I was in rehearsal for a new play I've written called Faith. I'll be performing it in early April in the Women's Center Stage Festival in New York City. And Faith is about my experience having and recovering from an eating disorder. So it's a direct, chronological, autobiographical account of my experience. And I was looking at some old letters and journal entries I'd written essentially to myself or anyone that would read them when I was in high school and really in the throes of my eating disorder. And I came across this section where basically I remember it being, I wrote this letter and I think I printed it out and left it on my desk, and I was gonna run away for the weekend because everyone sucked and I was in pain, and this was like a dramatic thing that I thought would be useful. I don't really remember if I actually left home for the weekend or if I just printed it out and stormed out of my bedroom and made sure people knew it was on my desk. But whatever happened, the letter still exists in my computer. And it begins, page 1 is like this huge complaining session of everyone that's wronged me and hurt my feelings. And then it descends into this staccato pulsing of just the mentality of an eating disorder. And one line is like, I like throwing up, and then I like binging and purging. I hate myself. I hate my body. I like this. I like being miserable. I want to get well. I wanted this. It was just this sort of descent into spiraling. I don't want to, excuse me, the sun is in my eyes. I don't want to judge it as a descent into spiraling madness, but really, that was when I was probably 16, because I referenced driving somewhere, so that means I had my license. So I was probably 16 when I wrote that. I'm 28 now. That was 12 years ago. I've been, recovered for 7, so it's been a really long time since I actually felt that way. And so there was this notion of not just look how far I've come. That wasn't really what I experienced. It was more of a oh God, I wish I could give my former self a hug. And also this recognition that I can vaguely touch and remember that I felt that way, but it still feels really foreign. And so there was this moment of recognition and reflecting, right? So that's one part of a milestone, is looking back and seeing how far you've come, and also sort of having compassion for that former self if there was a struggle, right? And even if there wasn't, just compassion and gratitude for the growth, right? The other part of a milestone is looking forward. So a milestone becomes this present anchoring to reflect on the past and to consider the future. So I would like for you all to consider the future with me in terms of the Body Empowerment series, this being episode 51. I'm really excited because today, in addition to this episode, I am relaunching my website, CarolineRothstein.com. An incredible web designer has done the magic behind the scenes. His name's Lathan Boyce. I am so grateful to have worked with him. You will see, it is, oh my God. So in that, all of the body empowerment videos are in this section, and I will link you to that right here, right now. I'm linking you to that link. And so all of the videos are cataloged now on my website. And if you scroll your mouse over each of the body empowerment videos, you'll see that the name, which is typically the theme of the episode, and the number are on top of each video, and then of course you can click on the video and it pops out and you can watch it. But for our purpose in our exercise of considering milestones today, I always ask for viewer comments and thoughts and questions and requests for topics. So here is where we work together in this looking forward. I'm going to ask you to take a look at that link on my website at the Body Empowerment Series page and take a scroll with your mouse over the 50 videos that already exist. What topics have we not covered? What topics do you aspire to see in the future? As we look back on what already exists, what is there still to cover in the future? And I already have a handful of new episodes on the way, more interviews, more conversations with people from other communities I'm not necessarily a part of, and their experience on body image and body empowerment. So I mentioned how the first 50 episodes were a lot of information and material regarding my own personal narrative and my own story. So when I was studying for my bat mitzvah when I was 12 and then bat mitzvahed at 13, I remember learning this incredible thing from the gentleman with whom I was studying for my bat mitzvah. And he was explaining this in the context of the Jewish community. He said that as the individual grows and progresses, so does the community. And as the community grows and progresses, so does the individual. So it becomes this sort of climb that happens simultaneously together. And so the individual grows, the community grows, the community grows, the individual grows. I've thought about that throughout my whole life. And so in these next 50 episodes of Body Empowerment, as we look towards the milestone of 100 episodes, I want to bring those communities into the conversation, because it's so important that we work on ourselves, that we love ourselves, that we embrace ourselves, right? The saying that we can never love anyone else and no one can ever love us until we love ourselves, that is true. But one of the ways that we continue to anchor that self-love is in the communities with which we surround ourselves, and being in strong, empowering communities. And as those communities grow and empower themselves, so do we. So I would love for us to explore that together. In this episode 51, as we look back on the past, as you consider your own past, as we look back on themes and topics Body Empowerment has covered so far, what's next? So please, I cannot wait to hear your thoughts. Please feel free to comment, send a message, send an email. If you go to my website, you'll see there's a contact section, so I welcome your thoughts there. But thank you again so much for all of you that have been with me here along the way. I guess really 50 could be the milestone, but 51, right? The step into a new chapter. And please check out CarolineRothstein.com. I'm really excited to share that relaunch with you all today. Have an awesome day and week ahead, and I will see you soon.